You've got a constant flow of people streaming over the border. I've seen it myself. What is that like for the agents who go to work day to day knowing it's going to be the same thing over and over and possibly worse?
Uh, that's a that's a that's a tough question, but um, so our sector in 2022 we had 4 suicides just in this sector alone, and so you talk about trying to balance work with your life at home, and um, it's very difficult because you're used to this pace of being very busy and just always go go go, and you just you get used to it. You know, you get used to always being busy. You get used to working hard every day, and it's hard to balance things out. And what I'm seeing with some of our resiliency events and speaking to agents on the field, uh, that's their hard part is being able to disconnect, especially right now where it's slowed down for us. So even with that, you would think with with as slow as it's gotten here in the Rio Grande Valley, our guys would be able to kind of sit back and relax. But for the last 10 to 12 years, like I said, they've been working 100 miles an hour.
What I've heard is that even though the crossings have slowed down here, they're happening other places, of course, they've just moved, but that the drug crossings have not slowed down.
No, so the drug crossings obviously have not slowed down, and um, we hear it every day, and we see it every day, and the talk about fentanyl, and it's very real, right? In this area alone, we've lost uh, several young teenagers, several even adults to this fentanyl crisis that we're dealing with right now. Because not knowing it's fentanyl, it's very easy for them to overdose with it. And so the fentanyl crisis is very real. It's there. It's something that is coming across our border, and it may not be as like dope that comes across the river, but it may come through other forms, through the port of entries, uh, hidden in compartments. But it's definitely a problem that we're seeing, and that's real, and it's there. Uh, it, it's something that we're battling daily.
How much does it weigh on an agent knowing that? I mean, you've got multiple things going on. You've got children crossing by themselves. You've been faced with a situation you can't vet, people the way you would like to if there were fewer in numbers. You've got the dope pouring over the border. Is that a lot on an agent?
So one topic that I've discussed here recently with some of the agents on the field is a PTSD, and the fact that it exists amongst our agents. 10 years of dealing with a crisis here, whether it was unaccompanied juveniles or just the regular flow of influx that we had of regular traffic that was coming through, but also just seeing death and seeing children alone come across, seeing broken families come across, and just or seeing families that are they're it's a fake family. They have documents, fake documentations that this child is not really theirs, but there's a document that says it's their child, and it's not, and so there's things like that are real, and that do affect our agents, because it's true trauma that we deal with, because it's on us. It lies on us at the end of the day, whether the administration's wanting to deal with it or not. It comes back on us, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are capturing these subjects. We're the ones that are apprehending, and we're the ones at the front of the line we're the front line in our nation, and so um, it weighs heavy on our agents because you get to a breaking point at some point because either not enough is being done, or uh, they're allowing us to do our job, but then at the end of the day we're releasing, and so all that, you work so hard, and then at the end of the day, just to see a large amount of subjects being released into our nation, it's it weighs on you, and it's scary because, like you say, not everyone gets vetted, and it's scary seeing people come through the border that you don't know where they're coming from, and um, it's just one of those deals that really it weighs on all of us.
Do you think, that the fact that the work you do is essentially undone a lot, right? All the stress of the job, the family life. Do you think that's contributed to the suicide of the agents?
I say when in speaking of the topic of suicide, it's there's so many factors that go into something like that, and I couldn't uh, pinpoint and say, you know what, it is this certain thing or maybe this, but I can't say that our work gets very stressful sometimes and overwhelming, and I can see where it might be a fraction. And in a nation right now where we're dealing with financial crisis, um, and just coming through a pandemic, stuff that our nation has never faced, let alone our agents, and our agents that have worked through all this. We worked through the pandemic. We didn't. There was no teleworking for the Border Patrol. We were still at the front line. We were still working, apprehending, and doing our job. And then here recently, now we're seeing, just the increase in economically, with the increase of just our groceries, our gas, uh, and all this. It's just eventually it's a culmination of things that adds up.
Your people too, right? You're affected economically,
Yes.
even though your jobs are,
No,
I'm
absolutely.
sure, very distracting to the rest of anything else you do.
Yes.
Do you feel supported by your community? Do you feel supported by America?
So I will say that we are very blessed here in the Rio Grande Valley to have the support from our community. Most of the agents here in the Rio Grande Valley are from this community. We were born and raised here. We go to your church. We coach your kids. We volunteer at events, and we're embedded into this community because we were born and raised here. Most of us go back 3 or 4 generations in this area, and so I do feel in the Rio Grande Valley, in this community, we are 100% supported. And I do feel to a certain extent that, yeah, maybe America does support us, but I can't answer for the entire nation. But I would hope that we do have the support from our citizens across the nation, but there's times that we get vilified and we get seen through a different light. The media doesn't really cover the full story or covers a portion of it. And so when you see things like that, it's disheartening because you feel that maybe when reports like that come out, you don't see that support that you really want to see.
Maybe in a way, do you feel like sometimes, because of politics, right? The argument over how to handle our immigration system, do you at times feel like you guys are scapegoats?
Yeah, so we talk about politics all the time, and the political realm is one that is a big discussion right now because of the election coming in November, and And so it's a topic.
What kind of changes are you hoping that whoever takes office, what needs to be done here to help you?
I think the biggest thing is we need to be allowed to start doing our jobs again, and allowing us to enact our policies again, and we definitely need to just start going back to deportation and sending people back and sending a message, and really agents are not against immigration, but they're against the illegal immigration, and there's at some point there's got to be some kind of reform, and what that looks like I have no idea because I'm not a politician, but there definitely needs to be some kind of immigration reform at some point. The United States has always been seen as the melting pot, I think a big background of a lot of us, our families were immigrants. They immigrated into the United States during a time where it was very different. And so I think at some point that discussion needs to be had, and um, I think it might make this big migration, it might fix it. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. For the American people, I think what they do need to know is that this immigration problem is real. Uh, we get inundated daily, and like I mentioned earlier, we went from one sector being very busy to now 5 sectors that are very busy, and that's daily. They're busy every single day. They're apprehending 500, 600, 700 people a day, and this immigration issue is it's real. It's there, and are terrorists coming through? More than likely, yes, because the amount of people that are coming through, it's not the Mexican anymore that's coming through. It's not even the South American from El Salvador or from Honduras or Guatemala. You have immigrants from all over the world that are coming through our borders, and it's scary. It really is.